Well, hey, Westminster. I'm excited to be working through this series in Luke with you for our devotionals. It's a wonderful book, and I love getting to study it with you. And I'm going to take us back into chapter 1 again this evening. If you're reading along, you can look at verses 39 to 80. And what you'll see in this first chapter of Luke's Gospel is that this is just a book that is filled with longing and expectation, that you can see very clearly from these pages that the people of God were longing for him to move once again, to bring his Messiah, to save his people. And it's this book showing like all these Old Testament images and figures, and it just, you could feel the tension of it, that these people were eager for God to do something in their day. But then what we also see in this chapter is that God moves in unexpected ways, that we can't put a finger often on what God is doing in our world or in our day. And so you see that from this first chapter, and I'd love just to read a few verses for us real quick to kind of demonstrate that for us. Looking at verses 34 through 38. And Mary said to the angel, "How will this be, since I am a virgin?" And the angel answered her, "The Holy Spirit will come upon you, and the power of the Most High will overshadow you. Therefore, the child will be born to you will be called Holy, the Son of God. And behold, your relative Elizabeth, in her old age, has also conceived a son. And this is the 6th month of her who was called barren. For nothing will be impossible with God." And Mary said, "Behold, I am the servant of the Lord. Let it be done according to your word." And the angel departed from her. So, the people of God in the Old Testament, they were longing, for God to come and move. They had been swept off into captivity, and, they never really had returned from their exile. Even though they were back in the Promised Land, they were being ruled by Gentile overlords and oppressors, and they were obviously longing for a different day, longing for the day where God would be king again, and that God's people would reign and would bring justice to the nations. And they were longing for these things, but maybe in the wrong way, that they wanted more power, maybe wanted to be more spiritual, so that God would honor them, would favor them. But then what they get is a king that is born of a virgin, born of a woman, really that was poor, that was of no repute. And, again, it's kind of a scandalous, almost shameful situation that she would be born almost out of or this child would be born out of wedlock before, Joseph had a chance to marry her. But again, the angel comes and says, "Favored you among women, and blessed is the seed that is in your womb. And, your child will be called the Son of God." And all these really great, promises, but, often it kind of almost comes to a shameful situation in a way that, God, that people didn't expect. And so, but you see Mary's response is significant. It's profound, that she says, "I'm your servant of the Lord. May it be done to me according to your word." That she, by faith, trusts God, even when it's not what she expected, even if it's not what she wanted. She trusts him and believed him that this is going to be a great thing that he was going to do through her. And, I think that's kind of the story of the human race, right? That, we tried to take things into our own hands in the garden. We tried to take the fruit from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And by doing so, we brought ruin, we brought destruction on the world. We didn't trust God with what he was doing. But then the crazy thing is that God, he stuck with us. He didn't abandon us. He stuck to his plans, his purposes, and he promised that this was going to be even better than what it was, than what we made it. And so you see, Eve in the garden, lost blessing for the human race by trying to take things into her hand. But then we see here Mary, again, receiving God's promises, trusting that he's going to do a beautiful thing, a wonderful thing in her day to bring about salvation for his people. And I just thought I'd share this quick picture with you. This is on our hutch in our living room, but it's a picture of Eve and Mary together, and you see Eve, the shame that she's living in after taking the fruit from the tree, but then you see Mary comforting her, showing her that the promise is going to be true, that the serpent is going to be crushed, and that salvation is going to come. And so Westminster, I just want to leave you with that today, that we can, in this crazy time of longing expectation, of wanting to be together with each other, these are all good things, but we need to trust God with his timing, his way, his purposes, that he's doing something in our day that maybe we don't understand, And we can either, trust him with that, or we can doubt him. And I think our doubts will only bring us more fear, anxiety, and grief. But if we can trust him, we get to be called into what he is doing, how he is redeeming the nations, how he's redeeming people in our communities. And so Westminster, I just want to leave you with that. Please, in this hard time, continue to hold on to God, hold on to his promises, know what story you're a part of, and trust him with these things. Thanks.